Well, hello there, boys and girls. Happy November 1st to everyone. I don't think I have put out a video since May, maybe a little bit earlier than May, April. It's been a pretty insane summer, but it's over. Fall is here and things are slowing down just a little bit. Got the old Modine humming away up there, warming up the shop. I think what I'm going to do in this video is kind of just give you a little bit of an update for those of you that are interested. Show you what I have done, what needs to be done, and kind of just go from there, I guess. First things first, I know some of you might not like it, but the case, the 446, has been sold. Sold that early this spring. I mean, there was really nothing wrong with it. I probably shouldn't have sold it, but I don't know. The idea popped into my head. I listed it for sale for about double what I paid for it, and honestly probably broke even with what I had into it with new parts and the snowcaster rebuild and everything, but I felt that was pretty fair. And what I ended up doing was taking the money from that and in a roundabout way picking up this Ford 715 3-point snowblower here for the Mitsubishi MT, what is it, 2501D. I'm still learning this thing inside and out. That's a relatively new toy to the shop too. Had to get rid of the John Deere, but we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, so this thing was owned by a gentleman down the road from me here. Picked it up, and he took fantastic care of it. This is the first one that I've seen in this price range anyway for what I paid for it that hasn't been completely beat to hell and had the metal all dented and bent in and everything else. It's been religiously lubricated and taken care of. When I had it on the back of the tractor and fired up the PTO and let it run, I couldn't even tell it was there. It's like completely silent. It doesn't need bearings or anything like that. So all I did was change the lubricant in the gearboxes, and I'm planning on just using this year for snow removal in the place of the case. But before I bought this, I spent quite a bit of time on the old white yard boss here, and I wasn't 100% sure if this was going to work out, and that was again kind of part of the reason that I bought the 3-point snowblower. But now that this is just about together, all I really have left to do here is finish up painting just the parts on the cardboard here and throw them back on the snowblower itself. But this turned out pretty well. I might do a video on this and kind of detail everything that I've done to it, and that'll probably be the case with everything in the shop here. Like I said, this is just kind of like a quick rundown of everything that's been going on, why I haven't been putting out videos, and what's going to be coming over winter here. Of course, I kind of tend to make some empty promises when it comes to videos, but what can I say? Life just gets in the way. I have a pretty hectic job and got to do what I got to do when I got to do it. So as I have time, I'll be kind of going over these things, and I guess if there's anything specific that you guys really want to learn more about, or you want to see a video on, whatever might be entertaining, just let me know in the comments. I know a lot of you want to see work done to the old F250 back there, and that's going to be coming too. But one thing at a time here. So anyway, yep, this thing is about done. I have a couple other videos out on the channel about this. They're not very popular, and I think the videos themselves haven't been very popular, and I think that's because this is kind of just, well, I mean, it's a pretty uncommon tractor. They didn't make too many of them, and I think the ones that they did make that people had I don't know, maybe they've ended up in the junkyard or whatever, but I just don't see too many of them around, at least in this area. But they are a hell of a little tractor with the 3-point hitch on it, and the front PTO. I like all the shaft-driven implements. Like the snowblower here is shaft-driven. The mower deck that I have on the other tractor, like this one that I have out in the shed that I've been using for my my lawn mowing and everything like that. The PTO-driven deck, but this one, if you've watched the previous videos, you'll know that I had to do an engine swap in it. The old Briggs opposed twin that was in here threw a rod. And I had posted a couple pictures of this in some of the Facebook groups that I'm in, and people made some good points about the exhaust being so close to the fuel tank, which for some reason I never thought about that. But anyway, to remedy that issue, I ended up making a heat shield out of aluminum here. I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. I think I actually have a video of this thing running on my phone here that I'll probably pop in into this video here too, just to let you guys see what it looks like when it's running and working. But it's not 100% done yet, but it is to the point that I could use it for snow removal if I had to. So, moving on to the Mitsubishi. Again, if you guys have watched any of my videos about the old John Deere 750 that I had, I was happy as a clam when I bought that John Deere, but the more I dug into it, the more issues it had. And I don't really blame the dealer that I bought it from. They probably didn't know. I mean, I'd like to think they didn't know and didn't sell it to me that way on purpose. And I mean, there were some signs that showed up when I was looking at it at the dealership that I mean, I thought it was kind of unusual, but it didn't really strike me as something to be alarmed about. But anyway, the 750 ended up needing a head gasket. I didn't film that process, but I did take quite a few pictures along the way. And other than that head gasket, it also had some issues with the four-wheel drive linkage that had to be fixed. But by the time I got all that fixed, I was kind of just like pissed off at the thing and ended up getting rid of it, sold it. Made all my money back on it, which I was happy about. And to be honest, had I kept it, I probably wouldn't have had any more issues with it, because I think I had everything, all the bugs worked out at that point in time. But it got to the point that I couldn't even really look at it without getting kind of pissed off. So I was like, oh, let's just get rid of it. And to be honest, I'm glad I did, because then I came across this little gal here, and this is a hell of a tractor. I think it's every bit that the John Deere was, and honestly probably more than the John Deere was. The John Deere was only rated for something like 20 horsepower, and that was a 3-cylinder diesel. This is a 4-cylinder diesel, rated for 30 engine horsepower, 25 PTO horsepower. And the hydraulics on this thing are absolutely amazing compared to the John Deere. The John Deere, I don't know if there was a leak in the lines on that, but I frequently had to just open the reservoir and run the loader up and down. Otherwise, it wouldn't pick the front end up off the ground. But this thing, I mean, I could probably easily pick one of the truck beds off of the trucks with this. Got plenty of power to do that. The four-wheel drive works great. It's got high, mid, low, and super low ranges in the transmission there, and I absolutely love that as well. Like I said before, it handles that snowblower just fine, so I think it's going to be pretty useful in the winter here. I've already used it to, I have a Rhino backblade for it that you can tilt left and right, or turn left and right as well as tilt left and right. So I used it to put a nice ditch in my driveway coming back to the shed here. That was pretty useful. I was having some water issues there this summer with water pooling and everything, and I want to get a culvert put in there eventually, so that's probably something that I'm going to do in the future. But just ditching it helped quite a bit, stopped a bit of the erosion that was happening to the driveway. So this thing's pretty much already paid for itself. The hour meter on it says like 150 hours, which, while that is the original style tack that was in this tractor, it's obvious to me that that's not the original hours. This thing has been repainted. I mean, I guess it's possible that it could be the original hours and this thing still was repainted if it had been sitting for a very long time, but that just seems wrong to me. I doubt that's the case. I'm sure it's got way more hours than 155 on it, but it runs like a top. It doesn't smoke or anything like that. It's extremely strong. It has the Mitsubishi K4E 4-cylinder engine in it. Yeah, I mean, for what I do around the house and my hunting property and everything, I think this thing is going to be pretty damn perfect. I mean, for what I need. So probably going to have a couple more detailed videos coming up on this in the future. I need to buy another camera, or an actual camera, instead of using my phone. It was good for a while with my phone because I had a tripod for it, but I ended up breaking that, so I think I'm just gonna drop the money on an actual camera and get a tripod for that and everything else. Probably make a little bit better videos. But this Honda Recon I picked up as a spare for the Kodiak here because the wife and I were out trail riding back in May, and apparently apparently the thermistor and the radiator was bad, and the lead for the overheat light or the overtemp light was not hooked up, so I ended up blowing the head gasket on this as well. So right after I got done doing the head gasket on the John Deere, I had to do the head gasket on the Kodiak, and while that was out of service, I was just running around on this little guy, just doing yard work and hauling wood and stuff like that, so that's why I ended up with that. And now that I have it, I kind of don't want to get rid of it because it's perfect size for the wife, and I use it for sweeping leaves in the yard, and it hauls deer just fine. But the Kodiak is back in service, 100%, running like a top. Had all the power that it had when I first bought it, so I don't think anything really catastrophic happened there. After I realized that there was an issue with it, I just shut it down and went back to the, luckily we weren't too far from the cabin at that point, just went back, got the truck and the trailer, came back, picked it up, and brought it home and got it fixed, and now she's good to go. So I'm happy that turned out. The old Suzuki here, I know a lot of you guys have been wanting an update on that. That's pretty much just about done as far as I'm going to take it. While I'm out here today, I might just film an update video on that, just because it seems to be one of the things that you guys just want to know a little bit more about and want to see what happened to it. But yeah, I think I got probably close to $1,500 into this, including the purchase price. But I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I just put new tires on it about a month ago. They're just some cheap, they're whole shot imitations. I think they're like Mass Effects or something like that. Paid $150 for the whole set off Amazon. I did get a full DG RCM exhaust for it. That took about 2 months to get after I ordered it. It came directly from the DG factory in California. They had to, I guess it's one of those made-to-order things. They don't have a lot of them sitting around. They just wait till they get an order, make it, send it out. But I'm super happy that I got that. Thing sounds amazing. But I think it probably needs a top-end rebuild. I think it needs, at the very least, probably valve guides, or valve guide seals, valve seals, whatever you want to call them. And it might need rings, too. And while I'm in there, who knows what else I would find. Like, it still runs, I mean, it runs absolutely fantastic, but it smokes a little bit, so who knows? I'm not that concerned about it because, I ride it, now that it's done, I probably ride it 4 or 5 times a summer, so I don't get that much use out of it, but it's fun to have. Kind of one of those just nostalgic things for me, because I had one of these back when I was a kid, and ended up getting rid of it, and ever since I got rid of it, I wanted it back. So definitely going to do a video on this. Like I said, might film it today while I'm out here. Going to get some work done on Fiona here this winter, which is why I bought that pig. The Jeep finally kind of bit the dust. Well, it didn't. I mean, there's not that much wrong with it, but it's getting to the point where I'm kind of sick of dumping money into it. And, I mean, it's a good hunting rig, but, having to throw a trailer on it all the time if I want to haul wood or go pick up a deer or something like that from the land, I'm a truck guy. When I got rid of my last, I had a 94 F250 before I had that Jeep, and I just absolutely loved that thing, and that's kind of why I bought this. I'll probably do a video on this today while I'm out here too, because this is the main thing that I'm kind of out here in the shop to work on today, is this F250. I just picked this up 2 days ago now as a replacement for the Jeep. I don't know how much money I really want to put into this thing. Well, I want to put a ton of money into it, but I just don't know if that's a financially smart thing to do, especially since I'm going to be dumping money into the F150 here. And the way the world is, I mean, who knows how long we're going to be able to continue using gas-guzzling trucks like this as much as I'd like to. I just don't know if it's in the cards, but that's a discussion for a different day, I guess. For now, I'm just going to continue pushing forward with them both. For the life that I live, it's kind of necessary to have a truck. But this thing's not in too bad shape. It's definitely been owned by a couple of knuckleheads in the past, but it needs a couple of basic things right off the bat. It needs a hood latch. You can see the hood is not 100% closed there. It's had some rust repair done to it that is not done correctly, but that's not going to be a huge concern of mine right off the bat. The cab corners have been patched and repaired here, and I'm pretty sure they're just packed with Bondo, but if the mood strikes me, who knows? I may end up, not doing a complete restoration on this thing, but I'll probably... The goal is for me, I'm kind of all over the frickin' place here, but the goal is to end up being able to keep this indefinitely. And I mean, as long as there's aftermarket parts out there for this, I should be able to keep it and just keep it in good shape. I am going to be driving it in the Wisconsin winter, the salt and the snow and everything, which is going to suck, but I think what I'm going to do this year is probably just spray the entire underside of it with a mixture of diesel and motor oil and just to keep it from rusting, and then maybe next summer I will work on getting it undercoated. I don't know. There's so many different things that you can do to fight corrosion from the salt that you see here in the rust belt, but it's going to be a good truck, I think. I love driving the damn thing. It's got a 460 backed by a ZF5. The engine seems strong, transmission seems strong. I was thinking that the transmission needed synchros, but the more I play around with it, there's a couple of plastic bushings on the clutch rod for that transmission, or I guess in the clutch pedal assembly, that go bad, and it kind of prevents the clutch rod from doing its job 100%. And there's an update where you can get rid of those plastic bushings and just kind of replace them with a Heim joint. But I've had some issues getting it to go into first and reverse, which sounds like a common issue. And I mean, I know a good deal about the ZF5 on paper, but this is the first one that I've ever had. I've had plenty of manual transmission vehicles before, but it's all been shit like a Toyota Tacoma or an old F250 with an NP 435 in it or something like that. But I've never had a ZF5 before, but I'm figuring it out. But I think I'm gonna change the fluid in the transmission and then do that Heim joint update and then see what that gets me. I really think that's all it needs. Other than that, it shifts super strong. It doesn't need an exhaust, needs the tires rotated. Probably just needs new tires, honestly, but should be a fun time. But like I said, anyway, this is really just going to be a driver for now. I have a couple of things that I want to do to it just to get it, roadworthy. Number one, fixing that hood latch, changing the fluid in the transmission, changing the engine oil, basic stuff like that. And then this winter, I really want to hit the 150 hard. I'm probably not going to do any cosmetic work with that. If I do, it'll just be pulling the box off and welding new supports in the bottom of the box so I can get rid of these stupid frickin' 2x4s in the back that are holding the bed up. And then I'd actually be able to use my tailgate, which would be great because I've got 2 deer this year with the bow and had to just basically lift them up over the tailgate, whip them in there, and that kind of sucked, especially with the truck being lifted. So that's a priority with this guy. I want to get the bed in working order so I can at least use the tailgate. And then I need to do some upgrades to the steering system on that. I want to get one of those Borges and telescoping steering shafts with the U-joints and get rid of the rag joint that's in there because the rag joint is garbage that needs to be replaced before I end up in the ditch driving this around. And I'm probably going to end up getting a blue top steering box for it as well. unless just getting rid of that rag joint takes rid of most of the slop, or gets rid of most of the slop, then I'll just yeah, just go with the steering shaft and see where it goes from there. But I want to get the grill and the headlight bezels replaced, as well as the trim piece here. Got some new parts up there on the wall that need to get on the truck. Although, to be honest, I'm hesitant to put the new parts on there because I do use this as a truck, and you know, for how few and far between those decent grill shells are getting to be, I kind of don't want to screw that one up. But the good news is I have a different truck that I can use it as a truck, and stop beating on this one so much. But I know I keep saying it and keep saying it and keep saying it that I'm going to do more work to this thing, but life just keeps getting in the way, man. You know, that's what happens when you have a real job. I'm sure most of you understand. But, well, on that note, I suppose I'll probably stop talking your ear off here and get to work. And if anything else interesting pops up along the way, I will keep you guys informed. Like I said, if there's anything specific that you want to see about any of this crap that I got in the old toy box here, just let me know. And there's really nothing pressing that I am like hot to work on. So if, like I said, if there's anything specific that you're interested in or that you want to see done first, let me know. Help me decide what to do first. Today I'm going to finish up putting those snowblower parts on the old white here, so I can either use it or list it for sale and get it out of here, get a little bit more room in here. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. I'm not really sure what's going to happen next, so a little bit of an update for you guys anyway. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll make sure it's not 4 months this time. Maybe it'll only be a couple weeks. So take care, guys. Talk to you in the next one.